is Agile? We will see. Agile is iterative and incremental model. Why iterative incremental model is needed? Before we understand Agile in detail, we will see why it is needed or what was previously done. So very old time, when in like 2005 or some 15 years before, when software industry was very new, that time we had waterfall model, which is like you are understanding the requirement. Okay. You analyze the results, and after there is a failure and then tested, the results are analyzed again, there will be a code change and then fixes will be there, you do the testing. So the model is waterfall model, it is called as. One is done, then the next step is performed. Okay, so each step is depending on other. Without understanding is completed, we should not start with test design. So it is depending on each other. After test design is done for all the test cases, like you have 1000 test cases, everything is done, then the test execution will start. Execution, everything is done, then the result analysis will be done. Like each step is depending on each other. Previous one is completed, then it will start. So previously what used to happen, entire project is developed in the one go. Like in a one go meaning is they will do understanding for 2 months. The first step is taking 2 months. Like each step will take months and months. Test designing will take some months. Execution will take some months. Each step will take some months, and after a 1 or 2 years, project is ready. That was a process. But nowadays, we don't have that much of time. So what they decided is, like, what is the best model nowadays is used iterative incremental model. So instead of developing entire project, they divide your entire project into some parts. What are those parts? If you specifically understand, the entire project is divided into the chunks. Okay, divided into chunks, like some requirements will be taken. Only 2 features are considered, only 2 features, and development and testing is done. Next, after a month, those 2 features are completed, then again 2 features will be taken. Okay, so if you see in this, go and understand how it is done. First is 2 are taken and developed, both are completed, then next 2 are considered and understanding is done, test design, test execution, results are validated. Okay, development and testing, both things will happen. Now, after those 2 are completed, then do a next 2, then take a next 2. So, slowly development is completed for the features. Now, what is the advantage here? You have smaller activities to concentrate and you get a faster results. Okay, and you get faster feedback also. After 2 features you develop, you can ask customer that, are you okay with that 2 features or you want me to change? So you get a feedback properly. If they say, no, change it in this way, you will be changing it immediately, whatever they give a feedback. If you get feedback after 2 years, then how late it is? You will have to change entire project again, because you did just understanding for 2 months. Okay, then execution it took 2 months. Everything will take 5 months or 6 months, and entire project is developed maybe 1 year or 2 years. But now these 2 features are developed and tested in maybe 1 month or maybe 2 weeks. Shorter time is required because you are focusing on very small tasks. Okay, able to understand? Okay.
Yes.
Can you
Yes?
repeat it
Yes, Priya.
again, please?
Yes.
Tanya?
Yes. Only thing now, what did I say is, instead of developing entire project nowadays, instead of developing entire project, small chunks are developed. Part 1 is developed, then part 1 is done, then again a second part is developed, then that is done, next is done. So instead of entire project, small section of a project is developed. Okay, is it okay? Clear?
Yeah. So this section wise like testing is also is falls under agile methodology.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. So what you have all the steps, like you will do development. Similarly, you will understand first. There is a no skipping of any of the steps. We will follow all the process, like designing the test cases. First, understand the requirement, but only two requirements you have to understand. Then, designing the test cases, only two features, not two requirements, two features, like it may be login and search. So you will focus on login and search for Amazon if you consider. So only for two we will design test cases, only two features we will test, and we will get the results. And only two are developed by the developer. Okay, fine. So what is this? This is kind of a iteration. What is first step? Your understanding. Okay, so I'll write here one, which is we understood the project. Now, next step is we are going to develop it. Developers will develop it. Yes, then that is developed. Next step is being tested and it is given to the client. Like for a client, we give. Again, some more features we will take. So it's a continuous process. One thing is started, completed. Second feature is completed, then third and fourth feature we will take. So it's a continuous process. Okay. It's a continuous process. We are actually working maybe 2 years or more also. But what we give is working model to the client very soon. So with the limited features, maybe only two features you will take up, these two features, and give it to client. Like you started with understanding, designing, development, testing, give it to client. Then again take new features, design, develop, test, give it to client. Design, develop, test, give it to client. Design, develop, give it to client. So instead of working entire project at a time, we are making small parts of the requirements, and those small parts are tested and given to the client. That is called agile methodology. So agile methodology is iterative and incremental model. Iterative means repetitive. You are going to repeat it, but after few intervals, like iteration, it is one cycle of your development testing is called iteration. One cycle of your development and testing is iteration. So we have multiple iterations. That's why it is called iterative. Increment meaning is when you are developing a project, initially how many features you have? Okay. What did I click on? Okay. So initially how many features you have? Two. Later on, two more are added. Later on, two more are added. Means it's an increment to your project. Yes.
Yes.
What is increment?
When it is
Increment is
increasing,
it's growing.
growing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your product is growing, like your child is growing. Okay. It's initially 1 year, next year, third year, like that. Okay. Your product is also growing. Initially 2 features, then 4 features, then 6 features, like that. So your product is evolving. It is set to launch in a market from the maybe after 1 or 2 releases immediately. You have something working model, you can start a business, right? You can miss your customer can start a business. Yes.
Yes. Like with
Okay.
the
So now,
base features, the customer can start, right?
yes, yes, but customer can start. Now we will take example of Amazon. So now we are working on Amazon project. Consider that. So in this Amazon project, okay, I'll open a whiteboard, new page now. Okay, there are so many things. Now, what are the advantages of Agile? first simple, the most important advantage is customer is happy. Like your customer is able to get within a few weeks, right?
Yes.
What are the advantages? We can say it's a faster development.
The customer doesn't need to wait for a long time because
Yes.
yeah.
Advantages of agile. Okay, agile is making the your entire project into sections and then we will do the testing. So development is faster, that is advantage. So faster development and frequently delivered project. Instead of waiting for years, client will get in few months to few weeks time. Okay.
Better understanding of requirements and requirement changes are allowed.
Yes. Okay, fine. So whenever we are working on small section, it is easy to understand. And if customer, like we give feedback, we take feedback from a customer immediately after few features are developed. Okay. If customer is saying change something, we will change that. So that is called as changes in the requirements are allowed because we are working on small sections of the project. Anytime we can change. We don't have much of the work done. So we will not have to change the design much. We will not have to change the test cases much. We have very few. So we are allowing that changes. So it's advantage for a client and client will be super happy so that you will also get a business. Your tech company is going to grow when you get business from the clients, right? When you get testing projects, development projects, then only your tech company will grow. So your customer is happy, he will do a business for a longer time with your company. Most important here is customer satisfaction. It's a business. Software development is also a business. Yes. So your software, you're a part of software development company. So your business will grow if your client is happy. So customer satisfaction is there and you will have a growth in a business. Okay, no need to write that all things. On a project development, you have better control. Better control meaning is you have done only small part. You want to delete it, you can delete, change it, you can change it. If client is asking to entirely change, you can entirely change. You have better control. If you have done the entire project development and then somebody is asking you to change, you cannot change. You cannot afford to change also because 1 or 2 years of work, you cannot just change because of someone is saying. You will have, like, you invested a lot of time, money, resources are costly, right? Project is running with 10 people, meaning is 10 people salary is the project cost. Yes. Yes, you will have reduced risk. Risk is also less because you are developing in some sections only. Whatever was the risk of loss or whatever is reduced. And your flexibility is improved, your improvement is continuous, like project is improving continuously. Okay, your team will also be happy, your client is also happy. Overall, it is going to give a lot more advantages than disadvantages. Okay, so many advantages are there. Clear, everyone? Clear, advantages are clear. So now we will see what are the Scrum, like what are the Agile frameworks are there. So now this Agile is iterative incremental model. There are some frameworks by which we can implement Agile. The first most frequently used framework is Scrum. Agile framework. So to implement Agile methodology, we have Scrum Framework and second is Kanban Framework. Okay. So in the software industry, Scrum is used majorly. Okay. Kanban is used in the production environments where some production is happening, like in the cloth industry or some other industries where some output they generate in terms of material format. Okay, how many items they were able to create, or they are creating something, maybe medicine or something. So when you have a production company or some other industries, it is used Kanban model. Why it is used, we will see. So
What
in the
is framework,
software
Priya?
Scrum, okay, framework is by which we implement Agile. So Agile is one way of development. Okay. Agile is one of the way of, or it's a methodology. This methodology is implemented by two types. You can consider. There are some types in it, in Agile also. Okay.
Okay.
So Agile has got some types inside it. Scrum we will see first because we are going to use Scrum in the software industry majorly. So Scrum is the most. So Scrum framework is Agile framework. Okay, Agile methodology. Scrum framework is Agile methodology framework. So obviously the development is done in the iteration. Okay, iteration meaning is some parts of the projects are developed first, then features are added to your project. Okay, same. But in Scrum, we have Epic. Epic is the root of all the requirements. So in Scrum framework, requirements are under the Epic. Each requirement is called user story. So these are the terminologies in the Scrum framework. User story is individually user requirements. You can make a note of. Epic is divided into user stories. Okay, Epic is divided into user stories, or we can say user story collections together is Epic. Okay, Epic has user stories. I'll write. Okay, user story is your requirement. Epic is a root of user stories. Then in this we have Epic and user story, and on a Jira board we have seen this Epic and user story. Yes. So in Jira we created a Scrum framework project. That's why we got those options. When I created a Jira project, the framework I selected is Scrum framework. Okay. As an admin, when I was setting up, the selection was done for a Scrum framework. So we are able to see this Epic user story options. Okay. Clear? Yes, Epic and user story is clear. Yes, we have product backlog. Yes, Anusha, clear. Product backlog is nothing but your entire user requirement list, which is yet to be developed. Okay. So if I
Ma'am?
write, yes.
Ma'am, this Scrum framework I didn't able to understand properly.
Okay. Agile type is Scrum. Okay, there is Agile framework. In that Agile, we have one type of Agile is Scrum. Okay, just you consider Agile has two types. Okay, when Agile has two types, in the first type, which is used in the software industry, which is we will be using every time. So you will get interview question also. What is a Scrum? Scrum is a framework in Agile. Okay, meaning is one of the type of Agile, the way we implement. Okay, so that is. Now I'll create one diagram. Okay, so we have entire product backlog, meaning is requirement. Requirement, it is fine, it's a requirement document. Entire products features are yet to develop, meaning is initially we have to develop entire product, right? Nothing is developed. So entire is in the backlog list. Entire product backlog is nothing but features that we have to develop. This is a document where we have to, like where we have all the features which are we need to develop. So in Amazon project, if we have, so what we have a search feature, we have a login feature, we have add to cart feature. Okay, consider that those are the features that is given. Okay, add to cart. Okay, fine. So blah 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 things are there. Okay, there are blah 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 things are there like this. Now in the Scrum framework, next is you have so many things to develop. What we will do a sprint planning. Okay, sprint planning meaning is it's a planning meeting we do. So everything we have to develop, we are not going to take everything in a one go. We know that because it is a agile methodology. So we will take only priority ones first. So who will decide that is a priority? A person who knows a project entirely. Who will decide what is the priority, what to develop first? A person who knows a project. A person who knows a project, everything is a product owner, PO. Okay, he is a product owner who knows the entire project. So this product owner person will sit with the client, or he will understand the requirement from this client. Okay. So in our diagram, I'll make it a separate. So now in the sprint planning, we will plan, okay, what to develop first, how much time it is needed, what is the complexity of it. We meaning is developers and QAs, everyone will be part of the sprint planning meeting. So sprint planning meeting is, the planning is done about a sprint activity. Sprint is nothing but a one iteration in your agile. Your agile has got so many iterations. Maybe after 20 iterations, your project is done. Means 20 times you will start a sprint, end a sprint. So 20 iterations are needed, or 20 or maybe more also. One iteration means one round of development and testing is called one iteration. That one iteration is called a sprint. Okay. One iteration equals to sprint. Okay. So I'll write it here again. One iteration is a sprint. Fine. So sprint planning is, we will plan that iteration one, which is a sprint. We will plan. Now what we are going to develop, test, everything we will plan in the sprint planning. Okay. Who are part of this planning meeting? So who are the part of this meeting is
The product
entirely.
owners, the developers.
Yes, I'm
Testers.
coming to that point. Yes, so there is a person, he is a part of, like, okay, I'll create another diagram, simple one. developer, QA, BA, product owner. These are the parts. So consider there are 3 developers and 2 QA. One is a project manager, lead. These are the people who all are the part of this planning meeting and entire development testing. So not just the planning meeting, they are a part of team, developers and QA. Okay. So developers and QAs all together are called Scrum team. So as long as you are working in the Scrum framework, that is called as Scrum team. Who are Scrum team? Developers and QAs. Both. Everyone is a Scrum team. Fine. Any questions? No? After this team has done the planning and they will decide, okay, let us develop this in 2 weeks, right? Okay. So the duration of a sprint is 2 weeks. Consider that. In 2 weeks, whatever is developed, that is increment. Increment is your project increment. It is so some project is developed. Some part of a project is developed. Okay. Instead of project, I'll say some part of a project is developed. This is nothing but a increment. Increment is your project is getting incremented, like your features are added. Okay. Next, what we do is we discuss about the what went well. Like everything did we do as per the plan or not? That is called as we have sprint review meeting. At the end of one iteration, we will discuss about a sprint review, like what went well, what needs to be improved. Okay. Sprint is reviewed. Okay. There is a sprint review and there is after sprint review, there is one sprint retrospective, which is actually a feedback discussion. What went well, everything went, how we discussed or not. Okay. That is all about sprint retrospective. Now, when we are developing the days, like 2 weeks meaning is 10 days. Now, on that 10 days, every day we will have a daily stand-up. So, what is daily stand-up? I'll write it in different color. What is daily stand-up? Is a discussion that we do, which is like what did you do yesterday, what you are working on today, and do you have any impediments? Meaning is the problems, do you have any? So daily stand-up is a call for 15 minutes. Everyone will give a update what did they do. Okay. So we are learning Agile methodology. In Agile, there is one type of Agile, that is Scrum. In a Scrum, we all have all these. In Kanban, we don't have these all things. Kanban is little different. So all the terminologies are only to the Scrum framework. These are product owner, Scrum team, sprint planning, increment, sprint review, product backlog. These things will come only in the Scrum framework, not in anything else, not in Kanban. So in this Scrum framework, the basic model is clear. Fine. You can make a note of this, make a note of diagram, like you can create a sprint planning is done after first is product backlog, then we do a sprint planning, then the entire team is developing, then the increment, then sprint review meeting will happen. Okay. So as we are saying iteration, after your sprint review is done, again it is going to go for a sprint planning, because next sprint we have to plan. 2 weeks are completed. Again, we have to plan the next sprint 2. After sprint 2 is then sprint 3 we have to plan. Okay. Now sprint 3 is done. You have to plan a sprint 4. Yes. Clear?
Yes. Yes. Clear.
Okay. So after this, we have to plan a next sprint. So it goes on, goes on, goes on. Okay, everyone clear? Any questions? No questions?
No.
Completed?
No.
So next iteration in the next sprint, consider that. Okay. In the next time or a next iteration, again you will have a sprint planning, and whatever you did a planning in the sprint 1, now you are planning sprint 2. Okay. You might be not completing that entire things. You may have something backlog from the sprint 1. Backlog meaning is which is not yet completed, or which is you have something pending from the previous sprint, that also you will consider in the sprint 2. Because we cannot leave, right? Whatever work is pending, you have to move it to the next sprint and take it in that consideration of that next sprint and complete it. Okay. So whatever is pending, or some defects are pending, or any small activities are pending, that will be taken into the next sprint and it goes on. If something is remaining. Okay. Now, whatever we have, like product backlog is a huge list. For a sprint, we consider are only two activities, like 2 features, that is called as sprint backlog. For a present sprint, whatever we consider, for a present sprint, suppose we are considering 2 features, that 2 features is nothing but your sprint backlog. So you have a sprint backlog that you will develop in the sprint. What is this? This is a sprint backlog. Fine. This is a sprint backlog. Okay. If I write, okay, I'll write it at the bottom. This sprint backlog is, we have, fine. So you're considering your sprint backlog and previous sprint backlog also, whatever is remaining from the previous sprint, and current sprint backlog is current sprint you are going to develop. The features you consider in the current sprint are sprint backlog. So what we discuss in the stand up and what we discuss in the planning, Like, what is my sprint backlog? What do we have to do in this, and what we have to consider and start with it, and what is the complexity, how much time it takes, who will do what. All those things will be discussed. Okay. Overall, in short, this is a Scrum framework. This is how the Scrum is developed. Okay.
Okay, but still, can you just repeat the second portion when when the sprint backlog is there? What happens? Like the second sprint is started. Can you just repeat that?
Yes. Just a minute, guys.
Yep.
Okay, so before we go to Kanban, let me explain. So initially you have taken some features. 2 features you took. What are the features? 2 features, whatever, X, Y, Z. Okay, 2 features you considered, you developed it, tested. So development is done, QA is done, testing is done, defects are retested. In the testing, you will get defects. Those are retested. Everything you have to do it in that 2 weeks only. Okay, development is done, testing is done. Next, in the next sprint, again, sprint 2 will start. So let us take example of dates with the dates. Like now today's date is 14th of July. Okay, on a 14th July, your sprint 1 started. When it will end, tell me. After 2 weeks, meaning is on a 28th July, it will end. It should end. There is no extension of deadlines of in the Agile. Obviously, it will end on a 28th July. Okay. This is your sprint 1. Find 2 features you considered. Testing is done. Development is done. It should be done. Okay. The teams according to the capacity, meaning is how many developers we have, how many QAs we have. Based on that, we take 2 or 3 also. If you have more like 5 developers and 4 QAs, so you will take 5 features as well to develop and test. Yes. So you will have,
Yes.
okay, you will have that. Okay, fine. So not only 2, you will take it based on the team and capacity. Overall, you take features. Now development and testing should complete in that. So this is your end of the second, like first sprint. Now second sprint immediately will start on a Monday, 30, right? So your 30 July, your second sprint will start. And when it will end?
13th or 14th.
Yes, 14, some 14 August. Okay. So when we say 2 weeks, actually it's starting on Friday, meaning is it should end on a Thursday. Because on Friday, next sprint is going to start. So on 27, it should end. Because it's a day 1. Here is a week 1 and here is a week 2. So on a 27, it should end. Okay, 27 July is the sprint 1 end date. And on a 28, your sprint 2 will start and it will end on a 11th after 2, like 10. On 11th, again sprint 3 will start. Okay. So I'll say 10 August. It's a sprint 2. Able to understand now? Your sprint 2 and 1, when they started, when they are going to end. So sprint 2 is about to end on this date. What you will consider in this, based on a size, again, like you have team of 5 people or 10 people, based on that, you will take 2 or 3 features you will take. So like this, iterations will continue. So as I'm saying, there is no extension of the dates. Like you cannot push the sprint 1 end date to any date beyond this, whatever is remaining, like some issues are there or some features are not developed. Instead of 4 features, you are able to complete 3.5. So that remaining 0.5 will be considered in this sprint 2, because we are not allowed to extend the dates. Whatever is the pending task will move to the next sprint and do the considerations in this, and 0.5 coming from the sprint 1 and 3 features from the current sprint. Again 3.5 we will target to complete in this sprint. Okay, clear?
Clear.
Okay. So like this, there are sprints. Like this, you will have again on a which date sprint 3 will start now? 11th of August. And when it will end? 24th. Okay. And 24th August, sprint 3 is going to start and end. What features you consider now? Now you know that your capacity is 3.5. You will take 3.5 only. Because you are understanding after 1 or 2 sprints what you can do. You will take according to that and you will do the development, and it goes on. Development and testing, finding the issues. So based on that, it goes on. Fine. So your project will have maybe so many sprints, like 50 or more also. 1 or 2 years the project will run. Everything needs to be developed. It is going to take time. Only advantage in this Scrum development is we have faster feedback, better control, reduced risk, and we are able to give working model to client in few weeks. Just in few weeks to few months, we are able to give it to a client, something which is working, and they can start a business. Now your some 5 features or 10 features are done in the sprint 3 till this. Your customer is able to start a business. He will start, obviously. He will not keep the project ideal. He will start a business. So his business, how it is growing, based on that, he will give feedback also. There are new features as well, maybe added. Some features may be changed. So the business will start. He will be happy with that. So that is the most advantage of this Scrum, where working model is given to the client and clients are able to start a business. So you will also get a good business as a tech company. Overall, we have this Scrum framework, which is a good advantage. And with all these advantages, Scrum is used widely in the industry. Okay. So every project will use Agile methodology nowadays, and they will have Scrum or Kanban model. What is Kanban model? We will see. So Kanban model, okay, before we go to Kanban model, Scrum is more important. Kanban no one uses or it's not used. We can skip also, not needed to know as well. Is it okay? Like Scrum, you are able to understand?
Yes, that's fine. No.
Now everyone is clear? Everyone?
Yes, Priya.
Fine. Okay. So now for just to understand, I'll explain what is Kanban. Okay. Kanban follows, you should have a board, which is a board having 3 things. What is in progress, what is to do, what is done. Okay. So what is to do, what is done, and what is in progress. Okay. So this board is maintained at a entry level, like whenever you enter to office. In other industries, it is used where a whiteboard is maintained, and on that board, what is to do, what is in progress, what is done is mentioned. Like if some developer is working on something, they will mention it is in progress. If some QA is testing something, they will mention something is in progress. So this is kind of showing the growth to everyone. Whosoever is coming into office, going out, they will understand, okay, what is happening. So they literally keep a whiteboard and write everything on it. That is Kanban. Kanban follows this whiteboard, and where on a whiteboard they will write everything. Okay. So that it is visible to all, the progress is visible to all. That is a Kanban model. In the Kanban model, the rules are you have to start only few things. You cannot start so many things. You cannot keep so many things in progress. Okay. So they say that only keep few things in progress, make it complete, then start something new. Okay. So you might be having 100 of things to do. Okay. There are so many tasks to do, but in progress should be few. And you should move it to done, then start something new. Then move it to done, then start something new. So that is the Kanban model, which is the board it follows. Okay. So in Jira, we are able to, or we will be able to see that two options. Like if you are a Jira admin and you log into Jira, by your email, you create a setup, like you create or you set up a new project entirely, then you will have Kanban option and Scrum option. So Kanban will have a board like this. Even in a Scrum also we have board, but it is on the Jira only. It is not a whiteboard and we write it on the entry of the gate or entry of your sitting area. That is few, like 5%, or we can say 2-3% of projects, they may use this Kanban model. They will keep that whiteboard near the team is sitting. They will mention who reported which defects, what is the progress, what is done, what is not done, like that. But not many will do this. Okay. Fine.
Okay.
Fine. So there are two types of Agile. So Scrum is used. Scrum has this product backlog, sprint backlog, Scrum team, daily stand-up, sprint review, like sprint review, sprint retrospective, product increment, all this. Okay. So this is about a Agile methodology.